So we managed to check out Hail Caesar, the new Coen Brothers movie.
Indeed, as promised
As
from a few weeks
yeah.
ago. First, right off the bat, I was happy I saw this at the cinema.
Yeah,
It was a nod to old cinema, I felt.
yeah. I feel a bit mixed about it, but there was a lot
Mhm.
of great things. We're both massive Coen Brothers fans, huge fans, and for me, the part I really liked about this movie was you could tell this was sort of their love letter to that era of filmmaking.
Absolutely.
And they got a chance to do a huge Gene Kelly style musical number. They got to do sort of a spoof of these Roman epics, this epic story.
Yeah, Ten
stuff.
Commandments
Yeah.
kind of style stuff.
All the movie within movie stuff of it I loved, and also capturing that whole era and the look and the feel. And I mean, you could tell there was some proper money put into this film.
Absolutely.
And there's just a lot of love and a lot of care taken into that product.
Yeah.
But my main problem is just the plot. It's just it's a very nothing plot.
Yeah. Some great set pieces, like you said. I mean,
Some
very
great set pieces, yeah.
beautiful sequences, some really nice moments that they really worked long and hard on. This just wasn't something they just kind of, just threw out in an afternoon or something. Like,
No.
how about this idea?
No, I mean,
like,
it's something they'd been, it's probably a lot of their B notes on Barton Fink or Hudsucker Proxy.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we can't do that sequence.
Yeah.
And it just kind of stuck around in a drawer. They're like, hey. But, I mean, it just felt, that was my problem, is they're usually so strong with plot.
Yeah.
But here it just, although it was an enjoyable experience, it just felt like the plot was an excuse for them to do all this kind of cool shit that they've always wanted to, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of felt like Barton Fink, too.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, like
Like I
going
said-
deeper into that studio system. They mention Wallace Beery when they're walking around, and and it's part of that same era, that same world.
This is like the side notes that they had on Barton and Fink,
Yeah.
but they couldn't afford to put in the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, exactly. That's
It's like
yeah.
when he goes to meet the big producer, Barton Fink, they got some movie playing on in the background. They're like, oh, we can't afford that in the budget. And now they are able to do Scarlett Johansson and a mermaid, synchronized swimmers.
Or even just walking through like the studio lots. I mean, you didn't see any of that in Barton Fink.
They
'cause
couldn't
it was
afford it,
so
yeah.
low budget.
Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of being a Coen fan, it was fun. But it was strangely forgettable as well, I mean...
Yeah. There wasn't really a lot of tension, I felt. There wasn't there wasn't really a climax to that tension, and
there wasn't really a climax at all, really.
Yeah.
It just kind of ended.
that was, and I was hoping with this kind of secret society thing that was going on alongside it, I wanted them to go a little bigger with that, and it just kind of peters out.
It did.
And it had a lot of potential to be quite exciting at that moment, and be like this big aha moment, like the end of The Big Lebowski.
Yeah, or the end of Barton Fink.
Or the end of Barton Fink, but where all these elements are kind of, okay, they're kind of petering along, they're kind of going along this nice, easy way, and then at the end it just has this big crescendo, like this big crashing wave.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. They've had a habit, I think, since No Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
In that there's been a lot of movies they've made since then that have had anticlimactic endings.
Yeah.
But I've always felt there was sort of a purpose to it, especially with No Country. That was sort of they were doing it for a reason, I felt.
But that was a super exciting movie throughout.
In general, throughout. But that they were setting up that we would get a climax, and the fact that so and so died off screen, and you're like, wait, what? But it became something else, But with this, it just I'll agree with you on that. It wasn't anticlimactic because it didn't really feel like any tension was building, and we weren't sort of going to a peak.
Indeed,
it just sort of stayed on this amusing level, and it was cute and it was fun, and I mean, the cast is having a blast.
Yeah.
They're having so much fun.
Tons. Tilda Swinton just tearing it up.
Yeah.
Loving it.
It's like you can tell, they had so many roles in this movie, and people are just, like, actors are just climbing over each other in order to be in it for 1 minute. Like, Jonah Hill's in it for a minute, or...
He's on the fucking poster.
Yeah, exactly. Or Ralph Fiennes, is in it for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
But, just to get a chance to have some, like, Coen brother dialogue and deliver it.
Yes.
You could, and they're all fantastic. They're a lot of fun.
But I felt like some of the Coen's alumni have been a little bit missing in some of their movies of late.
Yeah, but they've kind of...
Like Steve Buscemi, John Turturro, John Goodman.
Yeah, I mean, they use him now and then. Goodman was in Llewellyn Davis. So they'll get him back now and then, but kind of over the years as well, they've sort of built a new alumni. Like Clooney is one of those guys.
Brolin.
Yeah, Brolin is one of those guys. Tilda Swinton is one of those guys, So it's like they've built a new repertoire company. Throughout the 90s until sort of Oh Brother, they kept using a similar cast always. Or I mean, even, Frances McDormand was in there for a tiny part.
Well, yeah, but she's always in there. She's married to one.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of the obligatory role. But she was amazing. Her scene was so good. And that's one scene where I felt like that bit of that old magic was there. Because then, I don't want to give it away, but the scene just suddenly flips out of nowhere for a second. But I was just like, oh my God. That was kind of what I loved about the Coens, that they just throw in this wild kind of moment out of nowhere. Yeah, this wild
sucker punch. And you're just like, huh, wait, what? Yeah, we really should take a chance to shout out that unknown. What's his name? Elrich Hendricks or something?
Yeah. Henrik. Let's look it up. Alden Ehrenreich.
Yeah, he was great.
Never
seen him in anything before.
I'd seen him in Totoro.
Oh, okay. I didn't recognize him from Totoro.
Yeah. He was pretty good in that. But no, he's got a great face.
It really suited that era.
Yes, he looks like a young Orson Welles.
Yeah, he had the perfect look, and but also just such a great character and a great performance of it.
Brilliant.
Just this really like dumb as a bag full of hammers, but this genuine sweetness and sort of humbleness.
Like a good old boy, basically.
He's a good old boy in Hollywood, and he just kind of sees things straight because he just is so like of this earth, but he doesn't get all the other stuff. He's not that good at it. But I mean, he really stole the show in a film that's filled with like A-listers doing great roles. I mean, he really stole the movie though in a major way.
Yeah, very excited about what he's gonna do next. Definitely one to watch out for. Alden Ehrenreich. I think that's maybe why we don't know. They don't know how to.
Complicated name.
Yeah, but people learn how to say Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was in Blue Jasmine, Park Chan-wook's Stoker. Ehrenreich was discovered at a friend's bat mitzvah reception by Steven Spielberg. When Spielberg saw a short comedy featuring Ehrenreich has described the comedic performance he gave in the movie as, "I ran around as a skinny little punk trying on girls' clothes and eating dirt." After that meeting, led on to being on shows such as Supernatural and CSI.
So yeah, I mean, overall with Hail Caesar, being Coen fans, it was fun. You could tell they had a lot of fun making the movie, but overall, it was a little disappointing that they didn't knock it out the park in terms of a story, because so many great elements there.
Clancy Brown turns up in this as well.
Yep.
Yeah, very briefly. But yeah, this is filled with those kind of roles where you go, oh, so-and-so, oh, so-and-so.
Yeah, Christopher Lambert.
Yeah, Christopher Lambert. I mean, like,
you know who was... the Russian captain that comes out, that's Dolph Lundgren.
That was Dolph Lundgren?
You don't even see his face properly. But that's what I mean. Just people are like, oh yeah, fuck, I'll be in a Coen Brothers movie for a second.
Because you barely see that guy.
Yeah, you don't see him at all.
All right, so you just saw it somewhere, like, or you didn't see it at the time?
No, I didn't see it at the time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I mean, I was aware he was in the movie, and I was like, oh, that probably was him.
It was fun, worth going to see, and I think if anybody is a fan of the Coens, go to see this at the cinema.
Yeah, it helps support them.